Penny Oleksiak, Canada's most decorated female Olympian, has accepted a ban from competition until 2027. It stems from 3 so-called whereabouts failures issued by the World Anti-Doping Agency. So athletes must provide a daily 60-minute availability window, 90 days in advance, to be tested, regardless of where in the world they are. The 25-year-old from Toronto will have any competitive results from June 16th onward disqualified. That includes medals, points, and prizes. Let's discuss this a little more with Brittany MacLean Campbell. Brittany's a former Olympic teammate of Penny Oleksiak's and the host of The Ready Room on CBC Sports. Brittany, thank you very much for joining us. Do we know what's behind these 3 failures to be available for the whereabouts checks?
All we've been told at this point is that there was an error on kind of the upkeep of them. So to provide context, you did a great job of breaking it down, but each athlete will have to provide an hour window every single day. Naturally, things change in life. You can have an appointment run long. You can have a flight that runs late. There are so many levels to this. You can grab a bite with a group of friends, and all of a sudden your time window might be needing to be adjusted. There is a system in place to be able to adjust timing, but unfortunately, there is still room for error. So in this situation, we know that Penny has received 3 infractions. So basically, she either wasn't where she said she would be during that 1 hour, or she misinputted information. So basically, maybe there was a spelling error or an error on the actual information inputted. But she has remained very firm in the stance that she is still a clean athlete. She believes in clean sports, and this was an error, unfortunately, to mistesting.
I'll tell you what I've heard from some other Olympic athletes, and you tell me if you agree with this, that one violation could happen. This is kind of an onerous requirement, and, things can happen, once, twice, a little bit more difficult. But once you have those 2 failures, 3rd is kind of unimaginable if you're still a competitive swimmer who wants to remain eligible. What's your perspective on that?
Oh, yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a huge responsibility put on the athletes, but at the end of the day, there aren't excuses. This is something she would have been doing since she was 16 years old, 15 maybe even. So it's been almost a decade. And so this is something the athletes are very accustomed to. And as much as it can be inconvenient or things can happen, it is entirely up to them and a responsibility of them if they want to compete at this level and keep the clean sport kind of understanding still prevalent. So yes, it's disappointing. Absolutely. I completely understand why people do think that way. I think mistakes happen. I think there are some challenges, though, when it comes to, I don't think everyone fully understands, like, having to put down an hour of your day every single day. A flight, like I said, the example with a flight, or one time I was stuck in traffic and my mom called me that they were at our house, you better get home, and I'm racing the clock, and I made it in time. But I think the human error element is absolutely sustainable when we talk about 1. When we talk about 2, you're definitely on the edge. But when you've already had 2, I think this is definitely disappointing to have happened with the 3rd strike. And I definitely think it's a good reminder to athletes. I know that was one of the bases that Swimming Canada has been discussing. For their athletes, this is also a bit of a wake-up call and understanding that hopefully it's a lesson that everyone can learn, that not only are these situations existing, but there are consequences to the actions. And this is what is going to take place for Penny 2 years out of the water.
I really appreciate you agreeing to speak with us. I know it's always difficult it's great to have athletes who are helping with the media because we gain your insight. It's sometimes difficult for the athletes because you know the people you're reporting on, Penny Oleksiak. But I have to ask you this. Like, I think for a lot of us outside the world of competitive swimming, given everything we've heard about missing 3 of these whereabouts checks, and it just sounds suspicious. It sounds problematic. It sounds like could this be because of doping? So how would you respond to that?
It's a very fair question, Ian. I think everybody has different areas of question behind this story. I think the one thing that I firmly believe in, I think back to the Penny that I know, the respect I have for her as an athlete, and also the teammate that I experienced watching her win Olympic gold. And I also think to everything she's achieved for the country, nobody's perfect, and this is really unfortunate. And I think she would be the first to admit that it's really unfortunate. But I think I acknowledge everything she's done for the sport. And I do firmly believe, maybe it is on, how I know her as a person, and maybe it is on how much I believe in clean sport. But I do believe that Penny Oleksiak is, a fair and a deserving individual. And I do believe that this is something she can get through. But I totally understand why this changes people's impressions of the memories they have of her. And no matter what, even though the ban says for 3 missed tests, it is still titled and labeled. And like you said, I work in the media now. I understand that it is labeled that Penny Oleksiak receives a World Anti-Doping Agency ban. And not everyone has the ability to read into the context, and not everyone's going to give her the benefit of the doubt. But to me, as a teammate, as a believer in clean sport, I am giving Penny the benefit of the doubt. And I do believe that this was a mistake. And I do believe that she's done really exceptional things for the sport in this country. And it is sad. And I mean, I wish we weren't talking about this, but I understand that this is a repercussion of her actions, and that this is kind of a reminder to hopefully a lot of people to not let this happen to them.
So well said, and we appreciate the context so much. That is Penny Oleksiak's former teammate and Olympic medalist, Brittany MacLean Campbell. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ian.